A 5, 6, 7, 8.
He's Derek.
I had a slice of pie for breakfast, a slice of pie for lunch, and then a sensible dinner.
She's Romaine.
This is for you lesbots out there. Scissoring, scissoring, scissoring. Oh, fuck my ass.
This is Derek and Romaine.
2.0, bitches.
Here we are once again, your favorite duo, Crunch and or Munch.
Yes. Something
Welcome
like
back.
that.
I know. We are a real Crunch and Munch bunch, aren't we?
Yep, we sure are, Derek. We sure are.
Well, we appreciate you joining us for another episode of this show. Thank you for subscribing to Derek and Romaine. You know, you keep us afloat here on the show, and there's nothing we love more than floating as we float through another pre-recorded episode of the show. We're not live today for reasons that escape us in the moment because we've recorded this so far in advance. We honestly have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know.
What season it is, what year it is. We don't know anything. So, you know, you just got to we try to talk about things here that will be evergreen and timeless. Evergreen and timeless. I don't know what song that is. Anyway. But by the way, speaking of snacking, you know, McDonald's brought back the snack wrap this year.
Okay.
And first of all, I don't know why they got rid of it in the first place, but they brought it back. I assume because they wanted some other lower price items on the menu because, you know, inflation has been such a big deal.
Right.
And even people have been like pushing back on prices at fast food restaurants. And I'm sure that they, you know, are like, what can we put on our menu that is popular but lower priced that people will walk in and they'll be like, oh, there is this, you know, cheaper thing. Anyway, so they brought back the snack wrap.
Okay.
And it has been so popular that it has caused some of the McDonald's locations to run out of lettuce.
Whoa.
I know. It's the new ice cream machine is broken. Now we don't have lettuce.
Dang.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, is there some kind of lettuce shortage in the country right now, or is they just can't keep enough lettuce in stock?
I think it is probably they did not expect the
That
high
kind of
demand.
response. Yeah, so they probably didn't order enough.
Yeah, and I mean they use their shredded lettuce for like their burgers usually, mostly. So it could be that when they brought the snack wrap back, they didn't anticipate that, you know, between the burgers and the snack wrap that this would be the supply that they would run the shortest on. Also, I have to imagine that you know, some of their supplies, like say the chicken that they have for the snack wrap, because they have like a crispy chicken, whatever. Like all that stuff is frozen. So you can keep a ton of that in place. Same thing with like the burgers and everything. But they probably can't keep a lot of like lettuce on hand because it wilts and goes bad and whatever. Like it's one of the most perishable things that they sell. So they probably don't keep a ton of it on hand. So when they're selling a lot, the lettuce turnover might be too fast for whatever their regular supply deliveries are to their franchisees and everything. So it might be related to that they're running out. Like if they only get supplies once a week, they might be running out, you know, on day 6 before the next batch of lettuce arrives. If they only get it, you know, once a week. So yeah. So I suspect it's probably related to that. Which, you know, when you
makes
have
me
a
want to
business,
go get one.
Yeah. I actually, you know, I like the McDonald's snack wrap. They are tasty.
Well, my daughter was just telling me how she wanted some ice cream. So maybe maybe after we're done doing this little episode, I will throw her in the car and we'll make a drive to Mickey D's and I'll get me a snack wrap and she can get an ice cream cone.
You know, Doris, my grandmother, R.I.P., as of the recording of this, I don't know, she might have come back. But my grandmother, she, like in the afternoon, sometimes she'd be like, let's just drive through McDonald's and I'm going to get a little like, you know, Mickey Jr. burger or something.
Sure.
She goes, you know, sometimes at like 3 p.m, you just need a little something.
It's true.
You know, before dinner.
Yeah.
You know, not something to spoil your dinner,
just
but
a little
sometimes just
snickety
like
snack.
a bridge between lunch and dinner.
Yeah, I understand.
And look, I respect that. The hilarious thing is, this is the same woman who went to her grave saying, "I just need to lose 10 pounds," And it's like, well, girl, maybe if you're not eating Mickey D's Jr. at 3 in the afternoon.
You know what? You need to calm your tits, sir. How dare you? Sometimes you just need a little snack.
I agree. I don't keep snack food in the house on purpose because I'm very snacky.
I keep certain snack food in the house. So, for instance, one of my favorite snack foods to have in the house, I like a beef jerky.
Okay, yeah, me too.
If I just need a quick, sometimes I'll forget to eat but I don't want to ruin my appetite for dinner, so I'll just grab a couple strips of beef jerky. And then other things I love this. I love mixed nuts, like some salty mixed nuts.
Yeah. Me too.
But the problem with those is if I get them for myself, Iris eats them. Well, eats most of them. She won't eat the almonds. So then I go to get some, and then it's just a bunch of fucking salty almonds. And I'm like, that's not what I want. Why do you do that? Like, that's such a douche fucking thing to do, to pick around and pick all your favorite nuts out and then leave the shitty nuts for me. Like, that's just shitty, especially when they're my mixed nuts.
What's a shitty nut to you?
I don't like the almonds. I'm with her. I don't love. I mean, I'll eat them as part of the mix, but I don't just want a fucking container of salty almonds.
Oh, okay. It's too bad I'm not physically around more because I would eat all those almonds. I love, they have the Blue Diamond has the almond packs of things. Girl, that's the Blue Diamond Smokehouse almonds, or the Blue Diamond salt and vinegar almonds. I will eat that whole tin in one sitting.
Fair.
I can't have it in the house. Oh my God, I love it. I love a good almond.
Listen, I like a good almond too, but when I want my mixed nuts, I want all the nuts. My favorite nut is probably a cashew. I love cashews. I think cashews are so fucking great.
I also like cashews. Now, when I was a kid, I don't remember where or why, but for some reason, maybe it was because, our neighbors, Doris and Ken, were vegan. And so, when you're vegan and your options are limited, you're trying lots of different things because it gets repetitive really fast.
Yeah.
If you're just, having, French fries or whatever, a loaf of bread and French fries. And so I feel like it was probably the influence of Ken and Doris. But as a kid, I got really into cashew butter as opposed to peanut butter. I preferred it. Probably because it's sweeter. I like a sweet thing.
Yeah.
But with cashew butter, even more with a off-the-shelf peanut butter, you don't have to worry about the oil separation as much because they sprinkle a little science and love in there to keep the peanut butter from separating. But the cashew butter,
science and love,
legit. There's just a layer of cashew oil on the top, and you got to mix that shit every time.
Right.
But yeah, I love a cashew. I think for me, first of all, I agree with you. It's rude to go through a nut mix or a Chex mix or a trail mix and then
only pick
only eat the ones you like. On a trail mix, if it's the dried pineapple, I'm like, don't just take all the fucking dried pineapple out of here or the M&Ms or whatever.
Right.
Don't do that.
That's bullshit. It's rude.
Yeah. It's rude. Okay, because you're upsetting the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not right. Anyway, and but I have to say, in a nut mix, I think a nut like a filbert is my least favorite. They're okay.
What's a filbert?
It's a nut. It's another kind of a nut, but it's not a common nut. Usually if you get some kind of
Now I gotta look this nut up. I don't even know what a filbert looks like. What is a filbert? I don't even know. I've never even heard. I don't even know that term. Filbert nut. Okay. It's a hazelnut.
Yes.
Why didn't you just call it a fucking hazelnut?
Because it's a filbert.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyway.
I've never heard a hazelnut called a filbert. Ever. My whole life.
Well, you've led a very sheltered life. I've traveled the world.
All right. Okay. Interesting. All right. Thank you. I now have learned a new word.
But the tree, a hazelnut, grows on a filbert tree.
I see.
But yeah, the American hazelnut is a filbert. But there are other hazelnuts, I guess. I
Okay.
don't know. Anyway, a filbert is not my favorite.
I mean, hazelnuts are okay.
They're fine.
They're all right. I
not
agree.
get
They're not
crazy.
my favorite. But you know what I do like? I do like the big Brazilian nuts. Those are good.
Okay.
I like those for some weird reason. I would eat all of those in a mixed nuts mix.
Okay. You know what? This is another thing where you and I would be good
Yeah.
together because you and
don't
I
like
would be
those.
fine. Yeah, they're not my favorite. So this is good. You don't love the almonds in there. I don't love the Brazils in there. You like the hazelnuts better than I do.
We might fight over the
both of us are
cashews, though.
meh. We would fight over the cashews, but I feel like we could, because you know me, I'm fine with like picking my battles in a thing like this. So I wouldn't fight you over the cashews. I'd be fine.
Okay.
So anyway,
You know
so
what I
here we
don't
go.
like in a trail mix?
Oh God.
A peanut. Do not like peanuts in trail mix. They
You know
throw the
why?
whole thing off.
I think it's because they're just throwing in a cheap nut.
I like a walnut. I like a pecan.
Right. You like an
not-
upscale mix.
Yeah, I do not like a peanut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who ate all my nuts?
Okay, can we talk about that for 2 seconds? So over the summer, we had an intern. I had an intern. And her name was Pal. And she was obsessed with the sound bar in the DNRcast app.
Right.
And that was her favorite button.
Who ate all my nuts?
Hands off my nuts, bitch.
The
Yeah,
soundbar
she
thing
loved
is
that.
delightful. You know, our past intern Stephanie, she put that together.
Mm-hmm.
That is her DNRcast app legacy is the soundbar.
Oh, yeah.
And it is actually really fun. I think, you know, it's so frustrating. We're always trying to convince our longtime listeners, because now we've been, you know, out and about for 10 years now. We have our
Yeah.
own app. We have, you know, CarPlay so people can listen in the car. And
We have all
but
the
people,
things.
But people are very rooted in like, this is the way I've always listened to the show. I don't want to try new things, whatever. Okay.
They should try
But-
new things.
But yes, like all of our subscribers, every Derek and Remain subscriber, no matter what website or platform you're on or everything, you can all log into the DNRcast app.
Yep.
And it's not just a way to listen to our show. There are other shows in there, but also we do have other features in there, like the recipes and the daily games you can play. And then, yes, the soundboard, which has everybody, like all sorts of people's favorite audio clips from the past of the show. The ones that all the time they're complaining we don't play enough of on the show.
Right.
Like, girl, you now have the power to play Who Ate All My Nuts to your
Anytime
heart's
you want.
content.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot there. I really wish more people would just, well, first of all, for people called listeners, they don't really listen. But like when I say, you should try this, you should do that, they don't listen to me.
I wish they would.
I wish they would too. You know, rarely do Romaine and I both say, you should do this same thing. And I mean, we put a lot of effort into developing this like standalone app. It's kind of one of the things. I mean, look around the landscape of other people who do, you know, radio shows and podcasts and whatever else. Like our competitors, do they have their own app? Do they have their own games? Do they have their own, you know, whatever like that we have? No. Like
We're
how
trying to go
fortunate
above and
you
beyond
are.
for you bitches.
Yeah, we have all this extra stuff that doesn't cost you any extra money. Why don't you try it out? It's free. It's a gift with purchase. I mean, we should start talking about the app as a gift with purchase. Purchase a Derek and Remain subscription and get a gift with purchase, the DNRcast app.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also love the sound bar, and sometimes I will click some buttons in there just for my own amusement. And yeah, when we have the tech interns, whenever they come and join us, you know, I tell them before the interviews, you know, I give them a discount code so they can, you know, log into the app before their interview. And, you know, because I'm not going to like charge one of our tech interns to, you know, subscribe just so they can access the app before they decide whether or not they want to intern with us
Right,
for the
makes
summer.
sense.
Yeah, so I give them a short-term free subscription so they can check out the app. And the feedback, I always get the same feedback. Like, oh, they'll play the game, but they love somebody will say, "Oh my God, that soundboard was hilarious," because this is all new to them. They don't know anything about us or our personalities, and so they're like, "What are all these sounds?" And then they click on all of them because they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And I always you can tell because they always bring it up, like, "Oh my God, I clicked through that soundboard. What is happening on your show?" Like, I agree. What is happening on your show? No one really knows.
Lots of crazy shit. Lots of crazy shit is happening on our show.
So people should check that out. All right. Well, speaking of things that are crazy, it's fall.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Sure.
It's
a time of year.
It's that time of year. It's possibly the most wonderful time of year, or almost the most wonderful time of year. It's hard to tell. But I will make a forced prediction that OpenAI has more users now for ChatGPT now that it's fall, because it turns out, their usage drops precipitously in June. Did you know this, Renee?
This does not surprise me, and I will tell you why I think that happens. Because kids are out of school for the summer.
Yeah, which means they're not using OpenAI to cheat.
Right. Because, I imagine it's mostly young people that use OpenAI for school projects and for whatever else. So I would imagine when students aren't in school, or less students are in school, there is going to be a significant drop in usage.
It just goes to show.
I would hate being a teacher in today's technology age, because if you are an English teacher, let's say, and you assign an assignment where they have to write a 10-page thing. They're not writing that shit. They're telling AI, write a 10-page paper on this topic. And then guess what? That's what's happening.
As opposed to when we were kids, when we would just open an Encyclopedia Britannica and rewrite the same paragraphs that were in the Encyclopedia Britannica.
I never did that.
Girl, how did you ever write an essay when you were a kid then?
I wrote an essay. I actually did the work.
Oh, well.
My mom was a librarian. Do you really think she would have allowed me to do that, to get away with that kind of shit? No way.
No, but the thing is, you obviously you're not just lifting it paragraph for paragraph out of the encyclopedia, but you're getting all the information from a resource and then you're writing it out based on the information you got from the resource. Because a lot of sort of essay writing when you're younger is, I don't know anything about this or the world, so I'm going to take the encyclopedia's word for what they say the world is.
Right.
You're not looking for, I wish that they sort of taught journalism in school, of getting two independent sources for the same information.
Right.
Which is what journalists do, like good journalists, like gossip columnists and everything. They'll get one source for their thing. But most journalism that you read in a newspaper or you see on like the evening news or something, these old-timey ways of journalism, the standard there is at least two independent sources. And, you'll see sometimes, like with a big story, they'll have, 5 or 6 independent sources. I mean, a lot of them will be anonymous and everything, but like they try to get as many sources on their story as they can because, that makes it more likely to be true. Right. If you get two independent people who tell you the same thing. And it's the same thing I would imagine in like police work. One person is a witness to something and they tell you what happened. If another witness who doesn't know that first witness tells you the same thing, that's probably pretty accurate information. Right. And if you're a prosecutor at a trial, you have two different witnesses who are telling you the same thing, a jury is more apt to believe two independent witnesses who testify to the same thing than one person where you just have to kind of take that person at face value and the word for it. Anyway. So I wish in schools when they were teaching like essay writing and everything that they insisted on two separate sources, because you would get probably a fuller picture of whatever you're writing about, a president, because they always make you like pick a past president and write an essay on their life or whatever, or the Revolutionary War or something. It would probably be better if they made them do two sources, and that would be a way to get around AI, because AI is, if you ask ChatGPT, that's one source. So it's but
again, no, you wouldn't get around it, because you could tell the AI cite two sources. in your commands, and it's going to do it.
But we've already seen that they will hallucinate sources. We've seen this with legal cases.
Well, that's true.
Where people have used AI to write their briefs to the court, and the AI just made up court cases to cite in the thing, like out of thin air, like completely just made up the words. So, that is no guarantee. If you asked AI to give you 3 independent sources for information about the Revolutionary War.
But then it's up to the teacher to make sure that those sources aren't accurate.
Or are. But I think that teachers probably can tell based on, their own experience with their students and other sort of work. Because, teachers will have you write, like they'll give you a test. And sometimes it's a short answer, not an essay, but like a paragraph you have to write about something, right? In a test, in a class. And I would imagine that when they make you do like a paper at the end of the year, they're quite familiar with how well or how you construct a paragraph.
Right.
And they can probably tell pretty quickly who's just copying AI and who's actually writing a paragraph. Because they have like a writing sample to refer to about somebody's writing skills. Because believe me, I get emails from people. I see people's posts online. You can tell the skill level of a person's writing pretty quickly. And I think if I were a teacher, I know sometimes with 40 students, it's like hard to keep track of all these kind of things, but I think it would be pretty clear, especially if a student is not that great, all of a sudden turning in an A+ essay, I think it'd be a real red flag.
I mean, yeah.
But Pine Pants was so down on AI, so she never used it for any of her research while she was in high school, right?
She hated it.
What about her friends? Did they use it?
Yeah, she definitely has had friends that used it because she's expressed how disappointed in them she is. She's really anti-AI, and so she does judge people who use AI harshly. Even me, like I've told her, I'm like, I use AI, and she's like, you better not. And then she starts to yell at me about the environmental implications of AI and how it's destroying cities and the environment and blah, 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 blah. And then she goes off and off and off about it. And you know what? I have to say, at first I was like, my daughter's crazy. And then I actually listened to her arguments and I'm like, she's bringing up really valid arguments why AI is not great.
Yeah, the electricity and water use are particularly troubling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, there are a lot of things in life, that consume a lot of water. Like almonds, I love an almond, but they consume a lot of water compared to even other nuts, and so, you don't think about it with like beef, but beef a cow, especially a beef cow consumes an enormous amount of water just to stay alive for the, time it takes. How long does it take for like a steer to mature to the point of slaughter? Like
Usually
2 years?
2 years, I want to say.
2 years.
3 years,
okay.
Yeah.
So think about how much water, that steer is going to consume in 2 years. That's going to be a lot of water. And, to produce, obviously, they'll produce hundreds of pounds of beef and everything. So, you're talking about water per pound. At a certain point, it's like, but compared to other foods like chicken, because a chicken, to get to slaughter is days, not years.
Yeah.
And so, if you're consuming chicken versus beef and you're concerned about sort of fresh water consumption, chicken's a much better deal than, beef or pork or anything else that has a much longer lifespan before it becomes food. So, but in some ways, you can also drive yourself nuts, literally and figuratively, like thinking about these things of like, I'm going to deny myself X, Y, and Z because it uses an extra gallon of water. It feels like, you're just ultimately going to just keep denying yourself things that, and it's good virtue signaling, but you refusing to eat nuts at a party, like almonds at a party that were already harvested and everything, doesn't fix anything.
Yep.
You're not the person who is driving the demand for almonds by eating some that somebody has on a snack table at a party. So like that damage is already done.
Right.
But anyway, I appreciate that your daughter is engaged on this, and I mean, I don't blame her. I'm really, in a lot of ways, I'm very glad I'm not, 18 or 19 anymore, because like when I was 18 and 19, we definitely had things in the world to worry about, but it wasn't, is this planet survivable? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Will the planet be habitable by the time I'm, 50? And I think that for 18 and 19-year-olds, that is like a legitimate open question. And, that wasn't something that really faced us when we were teenagers. I mean, there were definitely concerns. Like, there were places like in Africa in the 80s, right, where we heard all the time about like famine, like drought and famine in Africa, right? And, drought and famine would routinely happen because, when my mom was a kid, when she and her siblings wouldn't finish dinner, they would say, "Don't you know there are starving kids in China or Africa?" Whatever,
I
right?
heard it all the time too.
Okay, right. And so one of her brothers then like put leftovers into a box and then like addressed it to these starving children of China, tried to mail it. As a like, well, if these kids are so starving, here are our leftovers. If that's how you want to play it, right?
Right.
And so, this has been a common refrain. There are other people who are going hungry. You should finish what's on your plate. Which I understand parents have to use whatever devices they can to get kids to eat vegetables or like
just
whatever
do what
else.
you want them to fucking do. Kids are the worst.
Yeah. But at the same time, through a lot of use of technology, better farming techniques, better irrigation techniques, different crops, modification of crops, we don't have the same sort of global, like the planet is going to run out of food for people in 10 years if we don't do something, because that was really what we were talking about like in the 80s, but we were able to resolve that in a way that it ended up not being an ongoing problem. And maybe for young people, innovation will get us out of the global environmental concerns that could make swaths of the country uninhabitable,
right,
in the very near future. I just wouldn't count on it. Just because there's just not the same interest among stakeholders in the world to fix these problems.
Right.
And, in the past, like with a hole in the ozone layer, countries got together, the U.S. included, and we banned the aerosols, which were the cause, and people were upset about it because they loved their hairspray. But
in the big grand scheme of things, we're fine now.
Yeah, and also nobody misses hairspray. Ugh, remember how horrible that was?
Oh yeah, hairspray.
Like spraying your hair and like keeping it in place.
Like a helmet on your head?
Yes, like a helmet on your head.
There's still products that do that, but not the same.
Yeah, but I mean, people do not have the same like, ooh, your hair is solid as a rock.
Right.
The way that it was. Like,
True.
Oh, this hair, my hair will never move. I could be in a hurricane. I could be in a convertible with the top down, and my hair will not move. Like, thank God we moved past that, because that was kind of gross. Also, like, when you would go to bed at night, like the hairspray would get like all over the pillow and whatever. It was gross.
It was gross.
And then your face, like this is why teenagers had so much acne, are rolling around in hairspray, like getting hairspray all over their face, clogging their pores with hairspray. Mm-hmm. Bad.
Yeah.
Since we stopped having hairspray, I don't see nearly as many teens with terrible acne as we used to have.
True.
Although there are other like better acne medication and treatments and everything, but even still, like we're pretty shitty to our skin. That's probably why everybody had so much acne. Did you ever think about that?
I did not.
I don't know, because you saw Romy's friends.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of acne?
No, they don't usually have a lot of acne. No.
Yeah. Maybe it's because we know how to wash our faces and we're not like rolling around in hairspray at night.
I will say these teenage girls, they have very serious skincare routines. Like you wouldn't believe the products that Romy has for her skincare and her hair. honestly. She's got all kinds of oils and lotions and things. But she is very careful about her skincare routine. And then they have those pimple patches now. Are you familiar with these? I don't know why they didn't have them when I was a kid, man. I'd have fucking loved these damn things.
Yeah, I stopped getting pimples in my 30s.
Well, when you're a teenager now, if you get a pimple, they have these little stickers that you stick on your pimple, and, like, they just disappear. The pimple goes away. They're like little miracles. Little miracle stickers. And you see the teenage girls, they put them on a lot of times before they go to bed. Yeah. So, like, when they do their skincare routine, after they do their skincare routine, they pop on these little stars all over their face. Like, if you watch some reality TV shows with young people in it, you'll see them. Like Love Island, you'd see the girls running around with their little pimple patches on. But, yeah, they just throw these little pimple patches on, and then bloop, it just disappears. It's like magic.
It's like magic. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of looking good...
Yes.
I have to talk about this wig controversy. You know how I love wigs.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, yes. I didn't realize there was a wig controversy.
When isn't there a wig controversy?
I don't know.
All right. Well, this one is about a hairstylist named Arthur Johns.
Okay.
And he was Tina Turner's hairstylist.
Okay.
And obviously Tina Turner has died.
Yeah. She's got great hair, though.
But she also... loved a good wig.
Sure she did.
And she, so there is a line of Tina Turner wigs.
Okay.
And he, as her key hairstylist, is the one who has been managing these Tina Turner wigs. Well, earlier this year, they released a curly blonde wig in the Tina Turner collection.
Okay. And
people hate it.
Why?
They had to, like, pull it. I don't know. I think they thought it was ugly. I don't know.
Was it based on a wig that Tina Turner had actually worn? Or just a blonde wig?
Yes. I think it was based on a look that she previously had.
Okay.
But that like the way it actually came out, and maybe it was because the wig was, cheap.
Right.
That people did not like it. But it was made from human hair. But it was $1,000.
Oh my God.
And I mean, it's made from actual human hair.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
But people thought it looked a lot more like Little Orphan Annie than actual mid-'80s Tina Turner.
Wow. Okay. I mean, maybe it did. That's cray, though.
I know. But it is hard to, because like celebrity wigs.
Yeah.
Because there are especially, music stars.
Yeah.
They love a wig.
Sure.
And I would imagine that a lot of it has to do with the rigors of touring and doing your hair for an event. It takes a long time and can be hard on your hair. So it's one thing if you're having your hair done, cut and dyed and shaped and sprayed and whatever else for the Oscars once a year. Right. And then the rest of the time, you can just be in like a sloppy ponytail and move about your life.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It's not as hard on your hair.
Right.
But if you're on a, say, 149-date tour in 50 different cities on 5 continents, Taylor Swift, it's like having your hair styled is going to be hard on your hair. On top of all the other things you're doing, like a 3-hour concert. Do you really want to spend 2 hours having your hair done ahead of a 3-hour concert that's already going to be grueling?
No. Let me answer that question.
No. So a lot of stars, I'm not saying that Taylor Swift wears a wig on tour, but a lot of stars who do those kinds of tours or on Broadway, they rely on wigs. But the wigs are very carefully styled individually by a hairstylist. And, it's very different doing that than mass producing a wig in a factory.
Right.
like having a machine press and curl the hair and have it turn out the way that it would if an individual person was working on that wig.
Right.
And I think that's the problem here is you just can't compare even a $1,000 human hair wig off the rack
Right.
to what a star is able to get for their professional appearances like Tina Turner did. So I think that the style was just too hard to mass produce in a way that actually looked like it was supposed to look. Mm-hmm. But, I used to deal with this all the time with Doris because they were always discontinuing her wig.
Oh, poor Doris.
Well, as she got older, the people who loved her wig style were dead.
Right. Well, that makes sense. That does make sense.
So, she, thank God for the internet because she would spend a lot of time wig shopping online.
Right.
It's like, they're discontinuing my wig. Now I got to look through thousands and thousands of other wigs that are
find the right wig.
Close enough. Because she liked a shorter style, like an on the neck, not on the shoulder length.
Right.
And something of like really more of like a poofy bob, really. Like a bob length, but not like a straight bob.
Like an Anna Wintour length?
No. Yes, like an Anna Wintour length.
Okay.
But not a straight.
Right, she wanted
like an Anna Wintour
poofy
bob. With a little life and swoop and volume to it.
Mm-hmm, I got you.
But it was tough because they didn't always make exactly what she wanted. So she would have to, spend time styling her own wigs and get something that was close enough and then sort of fix it. But when they would announce that they were discontinuing a wig, she would buy a bunch of them. And I don't know how quickly they wore out. We never really talked about like what the lifespan of one of these wigs was, but it wasn't like she was in like bad weather or something. But I think the problem was, she was a smoker. And so the wig would get smoky.
Oh, yeah.
And then I would imagine that like there's only so many times because they were not human hair. Like there was only so many times you could tease them and fluff them up and everything before they started to fall apart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she probably had to wash them because they were getting smoky. I don't know, because
I don't. Romy has wigs and likes to wear wigs, but I try not to pay any attention to any of that shit. So I don't know what the maintenance is for taking care of something like that. Because that just sounds like work to me. That's why I'm very happy with my short little lesbian haircut.
That you keep under a baseball cap all the time.
That's right. Because I don't even want to bother taking care of this little lesbian haircut. I ain't got that kind of time.
I know.
I don't have that kind of time.
Do you think your daughter will eventually become a low-maintenance hair person, such as yourself and Iris?
Absolutely not.
Does having two sensible short hair lesbians in the house not rub off on her at all?
Nope. Romy is the epitome of a girly girl. Like, she really is. I mean, in some ways she can be quite simple with, like, her fashion or with her things. But generally speaking, Romy loves the process of glamming up. She likes being pretty. She really likes a lot of those very feminine things. And I gotta be honest, I feel bad for Romy because she didn't have any role models who could teach her how to do this shit. Like, thank God for the internet. Because if it hadn't been for the internet, I think Romy really would have suffered as the person that she is, because I don't know how to do any of this crap. Don't ask me how to style your hair. I don't fucking know. I've never had to do it. I've always had short hair. Very easy to style short hair. Long hair, much more complicated.
I know. Remember when you had to watch that YouTube video to learn how to make a braid?
Yes. It was a bun, but yes.
A bun?
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't there a braid involved in making the bun? Didn't you have to like braid it a little bit and then twist it around?
So. I can't remember.
But anyway, yes, it was a bun.
It was a whole process though. And I was like, I don't know how to do this shit. And frankly, I don't want to know how to do this shit.
No.
This is not shit I care about.
No.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So Romy in this way, I mean, she's lucky because the internet has saved her from her lesbian moms who know nothing about being girls. I mean, Iris knows a little more than I do because once upon a time, as an adult, Iris had long hair, which I know is shocking to think about because we've only ever known Iris with super short hair.
She was trying to pass as heterosexual.
Yes. Yes, she was.
And we all know that when a straight lady has short, sensible hair, she is suspect of being a lesbian. Remember when you would go home to Wyoming, there'd be all those sensible ladies out of the Tractor Supply store and everything. You'd be like, wow, there's so many lesbians here. And it wasn't lesbians. It was
just
straight
farm
women
ladies
with short hair wearing overalls.
Yeah.
Buying their Tractor Supply.
Listen, it's very hard to tell the difference between a farmer lady and a lesbian.
Well, there's just a tissue paper difference between the two.
I mean, yes. And sometimes those farmer ladies look more lesbian than lesbians.
Yes.
And that's scary, by the way. Those bitches are tough.
Tough. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's a tough life out there on the range. You know, I recently, speaking of being out on the range.
Yeah.
You know how I'm a big believer in Canopy.
Yes. You use it through your library.
This is you get your library card, and you know you should check with your local library. It is a free streaming app to watch TVs and movies, and it comes free with your library card, depending on your own library system where you live, because not everybody has. Like, I happen to live near a library that has like the top tier Canopy subscription thing, whatever. But I have to say, for people who have like subscription fatigue, you know, having a free, you know, some of these free streaming apps like Tubi or, you know, YouTube or technically is a free streaming app because they have all sorts of movies and TV shows now that you can watch with commercial breaks. But Canopy doesn't have any ads and it's free, and all you have to do is sign up through your local library. It's very easy. You just get a library card, and then if your library participates with Canopy, they'll tell you. Anyway.
Right. So
on Canopy, though, they have a whole bunch of things that are, you know, you have to use the Canopy tokens because it's not unlimited watch.
Right.
But they give you enough tokens to really watch a movie every day for the month. Like the plan that I have, it's really like enough to watch 30 different movies in a month. So more than the average person would ever be able to watch.
Okay.
But they have a lot of kid programming. So maybe if you have a kid, you could burn through a whole month on there faster. But then again, a kid will watch the same thing over and over again. So you get 72-hour access to things. But but they have some things that are unlimited free viewing that are part of the Canopy collection. And one of the things was a mini series that I did not watch when it came out, but almost certainly Romaine was forced to watch.
Oh, boy.
And that is Lonesome Dove.
Oh, God, yes.
Now, I feel like your parents were riveted to Lonesome Dove when it aired as a miniseries in the 80s.
My father, yes.
Yes, because it is about ranching.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so I had never seen it, but I'm a big fan of Larry McMurtry, who wrote the novel that Lonesome Dove is based on.
Okay.
And Larry McMurtry wrote a whole bunch of pretty iconic things. He wrote the story that became the movie HUD with Paul Newman, which is a great movie that everyone misinterpreted because HUD is a terrible, terrible person. And then people saw the movie and they were like, I want to be HUD when I grow up. And like the people who made the movie and Larry McMurtry are like, I want to throw up in my mouth. He's not a person to emulate, but it's Paul Newman and he's super hot in the movie. Anyway, but HUD is a great movie. And he also wrote what became The Last Picture Show, which is another great movie. He was from Texas, so he wrote a lot of like Texas-y stuff.
Sure.
And he wrote the book that became the movie Terms of Endearment with Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger. And actually, the character that Deborah Winger plays in Terms of Endearment is his favorite character he ever wrote.
Oh.
And but he also wrote the screenplay for Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, really?
Yes. And part of it was when they were adapting it, they wanted because they were adapting a short story. So they really needed writers who could flesh it out. But he became interested in writing it because even though he had been writing about cowboys his whole life and researching sort of cowboy culture and growing up in Texas and everything else, he said that it was an absolute revelation to him that there were gay gay guys like in a subculture within cowboy culture. But as soon as he heard about it, he was like, "Oh my God, of course there was."
Right.
Like,
Makes so much sense.
Yeah, it made so much more sense of why these guys would just be like, 10 of us are just going to take a bunch of cows and drive them to Montana, and there won't be a woman for miles, and we're just going to go off, and it'll just be us in a ranch in the middle of nowhere where there are no women for miles and miles and miles. And then it was like, he just thought they did it because they loved the outdoors or ranching or bonding or whatever. It's like, nope, they were totally fucking each other. Anyway, not that like all of them were gay, because obviously there were whorehouses in all these places. There were definitely men who were heterosexual who were participating in this thing. But the idea that there were no gay cowboys is insane. And so he was like, oh, I have to write this story because, of course, this is underlying this experience, but also that they're going to have their own mixed feelings about it. They're also going to end up in heterosexual relationships and everything, because there is no other, other than being on the mountain with the sheep, there is no other outlet for them of these feelings that they have. And so anyway, I always have really admired Larry McMurtry as a writer. I think he's really talented. He wrote a book sort of about his experience as a writer and his work being turned into movies and everything. And I bought it and read it a few years ago, and it was quite entertaining. Sort of his mixed feelings about Hollywood and everything else, and being a person from Texas. But so I always really admired him. And then Lonesome Dove was kind of like the biggest Larry McMurtry thing that I had never seen. I was like, well, people love Lonesome Dove. Like, people, like, straight guys are obsessed with Lonesome Dove.
That does not surprise me.
I mean, it's this, like, seminal thing for them. So I thought, well, you know what? It's 6 hours long. It's like it was a 4-part miniseries from the 80s with Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones, and little Ricky Schroeder is in it. And Angelica Houston, she's quite great. So anyway, so it has like a pretty stacked cast, including people who became more famous character actors later who were not big stars at the time, like Steve Buscemi, Margot Martindale is in it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so it has a lot of people in it before they were famous. And then D.B. Sweeney, who could have been a bigger star, but for whatever reason, like, didn't get off the launch pad. And I don't understand it, because he is hot and he has a hot body in this thing. And I don't understand why he didn't become a bigger star. But anyway, maybe because people were confused by the DB thing, or he wasn't in the Brat Pack. Maybe people were mad about the cutting edge. I don't know. Anyway, so I decided to watch Lonesome Dove.
Oh, God. Did you like it?
Well.
Yeah?
You know what I wouldn't mind seeing is a more modern remake of it now, because I found the female characters are pretty sparse in it.
Okay.
But they also are relatively undermotivated. Angelica Houston's character is kind of the best one of the bunch. Diane Lane plays like a hooker who is kind of like, whatever. I mean, the women are treated pretty shabbily in this. Not a surprise. Like, it was a terrible time to be alive in general, but a really terrible time to be alive as a woman. But it's mostly about men and their cattle drive and whatever else. And it ends up being about a bunch of characters who have sort of keep intersecting with each other over the course of a year or so. Across the West. And there are some performances in it that are quite good. Like, the actors who we know are good actors are quite good in it. But then it just has a lot of sort of very over-the-top 80s miniseries tropes about it that are just kind of like, ugh, like eye-rolling. And I get it. Ricky Schroeder has like Rick Schroeder now. Ricky Schroeder at the time, though, was a big star, big TV star. And so it makes sense to cast him as sort of like the 16-year-old, like young cowboy who's trying to make his way with the like wiser and older cowboys who are running things.
Right.
And so he's well cast in that. But he, as an actor, and this shouldn't surprise anyone seeing his career since then, he ain't no Robert Duvall. He's no Tommy Lee Jones. He's no Angelica Houston. That's for sure. But like whatever, he's fine. It's a TV movie. He's not asked to do anything other than like suffer like a bit and cry on cue and whatever. He's fine. He's adorable and whatever. He's fine. And then Robert Urich is in it because again, a big TV star. But is Robert Urich the best actor in it? No. Although he was better than I thought he was going to be. But you can tell, like, oh, he's a big star for the network, so we have to put him in this movie.
Right.
And, but my biggest beef with it is that there are Native American and Hispanic characters who are played by white actors.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. That's not good.
No. I mean, there are definitely some Hispanic actors are playing things.
Sure.
But there's a lot of, like, white actors with a Frito Bandito mustache.
No, no.
Oh, Chase. Like this.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Oh, Chase.
Oh,
Chase.
no. That's bad.
It's bad. It's muy bad.
Oh, that's really bad.
I know.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Derek.
I know. So there are parts of it where I'm just like, this is very much from its time period that I wouldn't mind seeing.
Right.
Some, these characters from another perspective being fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just, it's not great. But like Danny Glover is in it. And his character is not like the worst black character that was ever in anything in the 80s.
Right.
But also doesn't have a lot of like internal life going on.
Right.
Compared to some of the other characters. So I think because we are kind of with the streaming services, we are in a mini series or limited series thing. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot here to like, but my guess is the reason that they're not going to remake it is I cannot even imagine how expensive it was to shoot these scenes with 40 horses and 200 cows in them.
Right.
I mean, because it's a big part of why they don't make a lot of Westerns anymore, is that the animal wrangling part. And also, I mean, there's just not nearly as many sort of like wide open vistas because everything is so built out now.
Right.
There just are not the kind of wide open vistas outside of national parks where you could like see for miles without a fence or a house or a person or anything. But the expense associated with so many animals, and it's like, they have one thing where they sort of like steal 50 horses and then they're trying to run these horses out of Mexico.
Right.
It's actually, there's kind of a hilarious thing because there's like Mexican bandits who are stealing horses from Texas and taking them across the border. And then they're also stealing horses in Mexico and trying to take them across the border. And at one point, the two groups of horse thieves like basically run into each other in the middle of the night. Like going back and forth. And it's kind of hilarious because like, who are the bad guys here? Because you're both doing the same bad thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so there's a lot of that goes on. And then at one point they're like moving 200 cattle from Texas to Montana and they have to like travel across, the US
right.
in a cattle drive, which I still don't understand why they do that. But anyway, so those kinds of things are just like too expensive. I mean, I guess they could use CGI now. And that would limit the cost of it. But I have to imagine that whenever they talk about it, it's like, how much is this thing going to cost? How many cows and horses do you want? Because the actors can't be on a CGI horse. Like, you need real horses for them at the very least.
Yeah.
And even the cows, like, you're going to need a certain amount of cattle for, like, close-up shots and everything. And I just think it would be so expensive.
Yeah.
But they have one terrible scene where this guy gets bitten by too many water moccasins crossing a stream.
That's not good.
Oh, no.
Not the water moccasins. They're very dangerous.
They are very dangerous. But it has a thing where he's like rolling around, like he has like 100 water moccasins on him, and he as an actor has to like roll around in the water with these rubber snakes on him. And
that's hysterical.
And they have it in slow motion of like, no!
Oh, no.
I mean, there's some good high camp in this thing.
Right.
But also at one point, the cowboys, at the beginning of episode 3, the cowboys have to run, like they basically are like crossing a stream naked.
Oh.
Because they have like all their clothes are like dirty and wet from previous whatever. And so they're just like, and it's hot. And also it's only men around. And so, yeah, so basically they are forging this river wearing nothing but chaps. And that's not the worst thing I ever saw. Because it's mostly like the stunt guys. So they have great bodies. Like you see them from behind. But you can see a little bit of their asses and everything. I was like, oh. Look at you, 80s TV. Okay. Showing a little side cheek here. All right. But yeah, DB Sweeney is one of them. Although in the, watching on a high def TV, you can see that they are clearly wearing like white underwear underneath their chaps. Funny. So you can't actually see like their ass. They're wearing like a flesh colored like underwear under their chaps. And like at one point, like you can see the waistband of it above the chaps in a couple of the shots. Cause they're on a horse and they're like moving around and everything. Right. So you can't like keep tucking it back under. So, but even still. It's mostly terrible.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised because I watched it as a kid and I remember hating it as a kid. So I don't even think you could, honestly, I don't think you could pay me to watch that as an adult. I don't think you could. I think I would say, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Thank you. Because I think it would make me want to die.
It probably would. But then again, your parents made you watch Gunsmoke and like cowboy things all the time.
All that shit. As a kid, I grew up watching that crap and I hated it. Because my dad loved that shit. Loved it. It was more my dad than my mom. Although my mom loved like a good Louis L'Amour book. But my dad was really the one who loved the Westerns.
My grandmother Doris got into Louis L'Amour like in the last like 10, 15 years of her life. Because she had resisted it for so long because she was like, ugh, what a cliche, right?
Yeah.
Because she wasn't into like romance novels and that kind of thing. Right. And she was like, ugh. But then she, for whatever reason, I think she was like, because she loved to read and, like your mom. And then she was like, well, I've been, they have a lot of these books and I've never read them. It's like, might as well. I got time, I'm retired. I have time on my hands. And she was like, well, I'll try one. Because she had never read one. And then she was like, he's a really good writer. And she read like a whole bunch of them. Of like, even though it wasn't her like regular genre or anything, it's like a good writer is a good writer.
I mean, that's true. A good writer is worth reading. So it doesn't matter what the genre is. If they're a great writer. Like for instance, I recently, my niece got me into these stupid fantasy books where they're like fairies and wizards and dumb shit. Like, and I can't believe that I fucking like these books because I'm just like, oh my God, these are the dumbest. Like, when I think about what they're about, I think this is so stupid. But the writer is a really compelling writer. So when you look past the fact that you're talking about like werewolves and fucking fairies and shit like that, and you just see them as like people and characters, then the story is what is good. So yes, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter what the genre is. If an author is great, you should read a great author. Maybe I should go back and read some Louis L'Amour's in honor of my mother. I'll probably hate it, though.
You probably would, but she'd probably be thrilled.
Oh, she probably would.
Look, I'm sure she's happy that you're reading, no matter what you're reading. But,
right.
Speaking of things that I don't ever want to see or learn anything about, Romaine.
Yes.
Labubu.
Oh my God, these fucking things. Okay, so
yes, these fucking things.
These are like the new Beanie Babies. These are like, we've been through these fads with toys before. So the new one is Labubus. I don't know if you've seen them, Derek. They're like little stuffed. They're ugly. They're fucking ugly. I don't know why people love them, but I think they're fucking ugly as fuck. I have zero interest in them, but of course people are collecting them. They're going for insane amounts of money. Like they are the hot thing. My niece is already looking for one for her daughter for like Christmas time. She started like midsummer looking for them. It's just weird. Of course, there are knockoffs that are not the real thing already. Like it's just stupid, but let me tell you the story that recently happened out in Los Angeles. Because these items are so hot and they're so valuable and people will pay any amount of money to get their hands on them, a group of thieves hit a store in Los Angeles to steal Labubu dolls, right? So they basically, what they did is originally the shop owner said, oh, I believe they stole about $7,000 of the toys. But in actuality, no. After reviewing their inventory, they realized, oh no, it was closer to $25,000 in inventory that this group of mass thieves broke in and stole. Now, like Vinylmation, Derek, many of the Labubu toys are sold in mystery blind boxes, which can be a lot of fun. But you never know which one you're going to get. So, like, usually you'll spend like $30 for one of these stupid things. But if you end up getting like one of the super rare ones in a blind box, they can fetch like $500, $600 in resale. So anyway, it's stupid. It's crazy that a group of masked robbers would break into a store just to steal these stupid dolls. And my guess is, so if they stole $25,000 worth of inventory, that's not like actual resale value. My guess is they probably tripled, if not quadrupled, the amount of money that they resold those for. Because people are so fucking crazy about these things. So, like, if you go in, you steal a $30 box, you probably could go and sell that same $30 box for $90 in a secondary market. So these thieves were smart. They're targeting a toy that is worth a lot of fucking money in the resale market, but also they're small. So it's not like it's hard to go in and steal a bunch of them. Anyway, I think these things are stupid. But I understand the appeal. Like, if you're like a collector person, like I love to collect stuff, you know, the blind box thing, it is very appealing to buy blind boxes because there's a thrill, there's an excitement that comes with opening it. There's a whole ritual to it. And it is a lot of fun. Now, granted, I never spent $30 on blind boxes because that seems like a lot of money for a single toy. But, you know, people are going to do what they're going to do.
Girl. You know what? Here's another reason why I'm glad I'm not a collector, because this is one bandwagon I'm glad I'm not getting on.
Sure.
And also, it's the kind of thing where every time I see a thing about Labubu, I'm just like, I don't want to know more about this. You know, Christian Siriano, over the summer, he was promoting the Return of Project Runway.
Yep.
And they asked him about various things and like, you know, is it a slay or nay? Ugh, so gross as a segment on the show. Anyway, and but one of the things that they like trotted out was like a woman just drenched in Labubu, like on her dress and on her purse and everything. And he was like, I personally wouldn't wear it, but I guess it's a slay because people like it. I was like, no. Christian, how dare you? I get it. You know, you don't want to alienate the key demographic who's going to watch Project Runway, but for fuck's sake, take a stand here and say, Labubu is ugly, it is ridiculous. Grown women should not be walking up and down the street with 5 teddy bears stuck on the side of her purse.
I agree.
It's wrong. Anyway, I'm glad we're ending on a note where you and I agree. And
it happens
wrong.
So rarely.
It does.
It is
but
nice
you
when
know
it
what?
happens.
We've had a lot of points of agreement here on today's show.
We
hope you all have enjoyed it. And you will tune in for our next great episode, whether it be live or pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Thanks for subscribing and listening and tuning in here on Derek and Romaine.
Thanks, guys.
Can't get enough of the show? Follow them on Twitter at DNR Show or like them on Facebook.
And don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe to DNR 2.0 at DerekandRomaine.com.